Another 569 people have lost their lives, bringing the total number of deaths now to 2,921. 33,718 people have now tested positive for the disease. 2,698 deaths have occurred in England. 117 have been recorded in Wales and 126 in Scotland. Let's talk to our correspondent, Katie Spencer, who is in the newsroom, as you see. Katie, welcome to you. Broadly in line with yesterday's figure, but that was sharply up on the day before.
Yeah, we are now seeing these increases on a daily basis. I would say, though, that today's data isn't quite as sobering as the set of data that we received yesterday with those increases that we saw yesterday. Should we have a quick talk through some of the figures? So if we take firstly the figures for the whole of the UK, it's worth noting that actually the more astute among you might realise that if you put the figures together for Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales and England, they don't actually add up to the UK figure. That's because of the varying ways that they're recorded between the different countries. So the UK figure comes from the Department of Health and they have a different time. We've noticed in the last couple of days, actually, they seem to lag slightly behind on the figures for Scotland and Northern Ireland. So that's perhaps why we're seeing different sort of variations in recording today. But what the UK figure shows us certainly is that there's been an increase in deaths by 569. So now the total for the UK stands at 2,921, so just slightly below 3,000 now. Looking at the wider picture for confirmed cases, 33,718. Again, yesterday we were talking about an increase of almost 4,000. Today, again, with this set of data, we're talking about an increase of almost 4,000. So I think that will be interesting to see what is said about that at the Downing Street presser a bit later on, to see whether or not that is perhaps a sign of flatter growth. We talked a few days ago at that press conference about perhaps there were some green shoots, that the confirmed cases seem to be levelling off. Perhaps the fact that we've got 2 days in a row with 4,000 just as an increase for confirmed cases, that could be a good sign. If we have a look regionally, take a look at what's going on in Scotland. Deaths there have increased by 50. Now, yesterday's figures showed an increase in the number of people dying by 16. Today, that's gone up by 50. But in her briefing, Nicola Sturgeon was keen to stress that that's down to the way that this data has been recorded. She said she believes certainly that a total of 40 of those deaths should actually have been distributed across other days, but it came down to the fact that actually family members weren't able to be contacted in time. So that is why she says that figure is so high today. For Wales, we've seen an increase in deaths by 19. Actually, that's dropped slightly on what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, the number of deaths significantly rose to 29. Today, it's down to it's gone up only by 19. If we look at the figures for Northern Ireland, an increase of 6 there, taking their total to 36 now. And if we have a look at England, finally, as well, deaths have increased by 561 in England, taking their total to 2,698. NHS England give us a few more details exactly about some of the information of those people that have died. We know their ages ranged between 22 and 100. 44 of the 561 deaths that were recorded had no underlying health conditions. I mean, it is, you can't really draw too much into the figures at this stage. We know that we are going to see these exponential increases. It's going to be a couple of weeks before we see those lockdown measures taking effect.